Okay, so okay, so there is a one we have stopped the class. Okay, so I gone through the last previous session where we have stopped the class. Okay, so let me give some clarification on that. Venkat, are you there in the class? Venkat, Venkat sir.
Yes, yes, I'm here, Mahesh.
Venkat, last class, okay, related to the asset accounting, you had one concern about when we are having a two different accounting principles, like one is the US GAAP and another one is for IFRS. So when we want to post the revaluation to IFRS, okay, so what is the procedure you should be get followed for that?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so there is a transaction code is there, which we are going to be calling it as ABAWL. ABAWL is the transaction code. Where this is the transaction code we are using for the revaluations. Actually, for any revaluations, for any posting of any revaluation amount to a particular accounting principle or for the particular ledger, so we have to use this particular transaction code actually. So ABAWL is the transaction code. So when I go into this ABAWL, can someone tell me that is it a mandatory that if any customer want to go for SAP S4HANA conversion from SAP ECC to SAP S4HANA, the SAP readiness check is mandatory to run the tool before the conversion, or directly we can understand the system requirements. So if the system requirements are meeting as per the given process, we can directly go for the conversion. So is it SAP readiness check is mandatory or not?
It's a mandatory.
Is mandatory. Okay, what the SAP readiness check is going to do for us? What is that exactly? SAP readiness. See, whenever I want to go for the conversion, so it is a mandatory that okay. So our basis people they are going to run the SAP readiness check is one of the tool. So what exactly the tool will give us? What is the output we are going to expecting from the SAP readiness check? So this is one of the question. Okay, so I'm giving this assignment to you. So tomorrow, so anyone, okay, so anyone who is getting ready with this, okay, just come out with an answer. So I'm just putting this question to you, and there is one more question also. I'll put one more question at the end of the session. So the two questions answers I should be expected for tomorrow. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we give the company code, and here we give the asset number. Okay, why? Because for which particular asset, okay, for which particular asset we are trying to, okay, so why we are trying to reevaluate that particular asset, okay, so we are going to give that, okay, we are going to give that asset number, and if it is the main asset or sub asset, whatever may be, okay, here the transaction type is always will be the 800 here, the transaction type, so it is a default. So now I'm pressing enter. And these revaluations you have to do before the sale of asset, Venkat, not after the sale of asset.
Don't we do a revaluation when we even acquire an asset?
We see once we acquire an asset, okay, so once we acquire an asset, initially when we are acquiring an asset, so when we are using the two different accounting principles like local GAAP and US GAAP, by default at the initial state it will be get posted to both the account levels, but next onwards, if you want to only post to particular account principal level or something like after 1 year or 2 year, you want to increase the amount of the particular asset only for the local gap or only for the US gap, then this transaction code we have to use it for the increasing or revaluation of the particular asset.
Let's say the local gap, we have to only post to IFRS, let's say, where we have to reevaluate to a higher level, higher value.
Okay, that's
right?
what I'm telling.
So
that is what I'm telling.
So that posting will not be posted in OL, right? Because OL is the leading ledger.
Exactly. So here, if you see here in the transactional data, now here the SAP has given option which is going to be called as the accounting principle and the depreciation area. Earlier, we don't have this earlier for posting of the revaluation in our SAP ECC, we don't have the option of ledger specific posting actually. So the revaluation is getting posted for all the accounting principle. Now, the SAP has given you the feasibility to enter to which particular accounting principle you want to post the revaluation. So if you don't want to get into the leading ledger, if you want to get posting to the non-leading ledger, so that particular non-leading ledger accounting principle should be given as an N1 or N2 or whatever the non-leading ledger you're supposed to be entered. Here, that particular area and which area, okay, as I told you that, if I go back, one second. I'll take this. If I go into the asset accounting, if I go into the general valuation, if I go to the depreciation area, as I discussed that, okay, so when you go into the depreciation area level, so here you can see here, so 32 is the area which is for the IFRS, that is for the 2L is going to be the ledger group, and 01 is nothing for the local gap. But here, when I go into the, okay, ABAWL here, when I go into the AWL, so if I give the company code, and for the which particular asset you want to get posted, so here I'm taking one of the assets, and here, which accounting principle here? So if you are trying to post it to the accounting principle to the IFRS, then give the IFRS. And what is the depreciation area? Why? Because it should not be, because in IFRS, if you see here, there are two depreciation areas are there. One is 32, another one is going to be the 33. But the revaluation should be supposed to be get posted to 32. Why? Because this is what exactly the leading depreciation area for the IFRS reporting that we are going to be calling as area to be posted in the real time. So I want to get posted only to the depreciation area, which is going to be called as the 32, not for the 31. Very, very important here. And what is the date? Which date you are supposed to be get posting? So the revaluation date is going to be on 03/2018. (01/03/2019), and what is the asset value date? Asset value date is nothing but the value date where the acquisition of transactions you are making to the particular asset here. So how much amount you want to post? I want to increase to $100. So here I'm going to be writing the text here. Okay, revaluation for asset for IFRS. So this is what exactly the text. So now here, the specification for the revaluation, here there is an option which is going to be called as specification. Revaluation for ordinary depreciation area currency. What currency you want going to be using? So this is going to be the same 100. Okay. Depreciation 32 is not available. 32. Here we are taking the 32. Yeah, 32 is available now. Oh, they have refreshed the systems, I think. Okay, they have refreshed the systems. Okay. So now this is what exactly you have to do here for the revaluation. So when you post the asset here, when you post this particular asset here, the amount is getting only posted to the only for the IFRS for the particular depreciation area. Of how much revaluation amount you are posting, that is the amount which is going to be posted is going to be the 100 here.
But for this, we need to maintain some GL accounts, right?
Yes, yes, you are absolutely right. So when I go into this, so the revaluation accounts has to be maintained here. So the accounts of particular should not be get posted to the normal APC account. We are not supposed to be get posting to the normal APC account. So if I go into the account determination, if I select my buildings, if I go into the balance sheet accounts, so this for only for IFRS, not for the book depreciation. So I'm selecting and double click on it. So here there is going to be called as the revaluation account assignment in the production cost. Here you need to provide the reconciliation account for the asset over here, because that if you are posting normal, if you are posting normal without any revaluation, then will get updated to this particular account. I should not get updated to this particular. Why? Because the system has to segregate. This is the normal APC transaction and this is the revaluation transaction. So the revaluation amount has to be get posted to this particular account, which is the revaluation of a revaluation acquisition and the production cost. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what exactly the revaluation purpose of the asset postings or the transactions. Okay, this is what exactly one issue which is pending from the asset accounting side, what we are going to be discussing here. Okay, next.
Well, Mahesh.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to book an impairment, right?
Okay.
So when you reevaluated an asset and let's say the asset went up by another 5 grand, 5,000, right?
Okay.
Now you want to book an impairment.
Okay.
On that same asset, and it has to hit this revaluation account because you increase the value of the asset, right? So it has to hit the revaluation account first until everything is depreciated, until everything
100%.
is gone, right? So how do you configure that part once you book a revaluation and then you want to register an impairment on that asset?
That we'll discuss offline. So definitely I'll explain you offline, that is. Okay.
All right.
That I'll discuss offline with you.
Yeah, that was an interview question for me. That's why I was asking.
Okay, sure. Definitely. Now, when you see the cycle here,
yes,
when you see the...
We would also like to hear that actually.
No, definitely, sir. Offline in the sense is nothing, but after this particular session, I'm talking.
It's a very important question also.
100%, sir. After 100%. Now, why not I leave you everybody, sir? I'll take care of everybody, not to worry, okay? Because you have been segregated, you have been waited for a long period of time for my health issue, okay? So I had to do something for you, all of you. That's the reason. Okay, see here. Now, when you take a procurement cycle here, there are two things are there. One is the procurement, the cycle which is getting started from the point of view, and the second one is going to be called as procurement indirectly affecting to the FI. Now in SAP S/4HANA, there is no change. Very, very important. Once again, I'm repeating here. There is no change in the process of accounts payable and accounts receivable, sir. Everything will remain as it is, as what we have done in SAP ECC. That is okay. The structures, the tables, everything will remain as it is only. Only the general ledger accounting, asset accounting, material ledger, COPA, and controlling. Only these 5 components have been unified into the one accounting, that is the one table which is going to be called as AC/DOCA table. When you come to the accounts payable and accounts receivable, the transactions are going to be as it is without any changes before and after. So very, very important here. That is the reason whenever you go for any universal general entry table, they will never include that accounts payable and account receivable. Account payables and account receivables are both the structure and the technical architecture remains as it is only. See, for example, now when you come to the procurement cycle here, when I'm coming to the procurement, what do you mean by procurement? Procurement is nothing but we are going to be doing the sales. We are going to be purchasing the material from the vendor. Okay, so for example, I'll take one example. Now, yes, Rahul is there. He is a customer. Rahul is a customer. Now, he is raising a purchase order to me. Rahul is raising he's a customer, not a vendor. So he is raising a purchase order. He is raising a purchase order to me. Okay, that he wants something about, Okay, 100 bicycles. You want about 100 bicycles. Okay, whatever maybe. Okay, you want 100 bicycles. Now he has raised this purchase order to me. Why? Because customer is raising an order to me. Customer is raising an order to me about he want to be get delivered about 100 bicycles. So for me, it is a purchase order. For me, it is a purchase order. So for the customer, it is a purchase order. Now what I will do based on that, I will raise the one sales order to the customer. Sales order. Okay. I'll raise the one sales order. The transaction code we are using as a VA01. VA01 is the transaction code. We are going to be raising the sales order to a particular customer. Why? Because customer has raised the purchase order. Okay, he wants the finished goods about 100 bicycles. So for this 100 bicycles, so I want one sales order to be raised. This sales order is getting raised in my SAP. So once the sales order has been raised, okay, now to manufacture this 100 bicycles, here. Now what I'm going to do here, so now the MM procurement cycle is going to be starting. So in this MM procurement cycle, so I'm going to raise the purchase requisitions to the vendors. Purchase requisitions. So what is the transaction code we are going to be using to raise the purchase requisitions? The transaction code which I am using to raise the purchase requisitions is ME51N. ME51N. So if I go into the SAP, ME51N is the transaction code where we are going to be using. This is going to be called as the purchase requisition. Purchase requisitions to the materials to the raising of the vendor. So every purchase requisitions is going to be having 3 levels of items. One is going to be called as the header information. Okay. Second one is going to be called as the item level information. Now the production people are raising the purchase requisitions now. So what items are going to be required? What materials are going to be required to manufacture this 100 bicycles? So with in this purchase requisitions, we don't have the vendor. Very, very important. We are not going to be raising any vendor. We are not going to raise it to the vendor. So these purchase requisitions are going to be raised. So once you complete this purchase requisitions, now against to this purchase requisitions, we are going to raise the purchase order. We are going to raise the purchase order. Purchase order. The purchase order is going to be raised with the transaction code called as ME21N. ME21N is the purchase order. So you can take the reference of the purchase requisitions and you can create the purchase order. So if I go into the SAP here, ME21N. So this is the ME21N screen. So here you can see the vendor account number. We are asking for the vendor account number. Now, if I click on this document, overview on, I want to look out for the previous purchase orders. So just click on this icon, just click on this variant icon and go to the purchase orders. If you want to see only your purchase orders, where based on your username, the purchase orders which I've created, then you have to go and click view my purchase orders. But if you want to view all the purchase orders in SAP, what are all the purchase orders we have created, just click on this purchase orders. So you will go to the purchase document. Okay, you will go to the purchasing document, and here you have to give for the location for the to which plant you are looking out for that, or which purchase group you are looking out for, or which purchase organization you are looking out for. So if you have any idea about giving about the plant or something like, okay, if you don't have the plant identification number, whatever maybe, okay, if you want to look out for all the purchase orders, then I will go and click on this execute, and I will remove the company code also, because I want to view for all the company codes. Or if you want to view only for the specific company code, give the company code and click on execute. Okay, now these are the list of the purchase orders, okay, which are available for this particular company code. If you just scroll down, okay, see, these are the purchase orders. So you can see here, these are going to be called as the purchase orders. Now, it is not a part of FI. FI is not going to create any purchase orders. FI will not create any kind of purchase orders here. Okay, this is the role played by the MM consultant, not by the FI consultant. Now these are the purchase orders. So now I want to view the purchase orders. What are all the materials have been entered, and what is the delivery date, and what is the material group, and everything. All the details I would like to see for one of the purchase order. Now just keep a cursor. Just keep a cursor and double click on that. Just keep a cursor and double click on it. See, this is what exactly. Okay, now this is one of the purchase order. Now if you see here this purchase order, so the purchase order number is 45000051, and this is the vendor account number, and here this is the vendor account number. Now I'm taking the vendor, I am taking this vendor. So I want to see the details about the vendor. Now what is the transaction code? /OBP. /OBP. Now all the vendors are going to be created as the BPs, business partners. Now I'll go to the BP. So this is the BP screen. This is going to be called as a maintain BP partner. Now I'm searching for only for one BP. So whatever the BP you have copied, just paste over here. Just paste over here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, now I have given the business partner number. Now click on start, because I'm looking only for the specific business partner. So click on start. See, he is going to be called as a domestic US supplier. Now double click on it. Okay. I just there is some disturbance from the background. Could you please unmute yourself if anybody has unmuted? Please. Still the disturbance is coming. Background noise. If somebody is not unmuted, please mute yourself, please. Okay. Now you can see here the details. Now he is the business partner. So he is the basically from US. Okay, this is going to be the details. Okay, he's the tradition code, and these are all the details about the vendor account. And here, if I want to switch on, this is the general business partner. Okay, now if I want to switch on to the company code, FI business partner, FI related transaction. So if I click on that, FI vendor. So if I click on the company code, so he has been created for the company code 1710, and this is what exactly which is called as a reconciliation account. This is the reconciliation account. So these are the details about the vendor. Now for this vendor, we have raised one purchase order. So this is the material. And okay, the delivery date is on 05/12/2018. So how much quantity he's required? He required 10 pieces. So here you can see here pieces. What is the order quantity? Pieces. So how much quantity he required? 10 at the rate of $1. 10 into 1. It is going to be the 10 into 1. Okay, so at the rate of $1. And here for this particular plant, he is going to be raising a purchase order. Now, if you see, this is what exactly the purchase order. Okay, so what is the delivery date? The delivery date is last year. That is what exactly the 05/12/2018 is the delivery date. But if I see this purchase order, the delivery has not yet been happened. Means the invoice has to be happened first. Before the invoice, the system has to post. The system has to post against to this purchase order. The system has to post the Miro transaction. That is going to be called as a goods receipt. I'm just putting here continuation. Goods receipt. Goods receipt. What is the transaction code? MIGO is the goods receipt. Now, MIGO is nothing but a goods receipt. Goods receipt is nothing but the raw material what we have been ordered. If you see here, how much raw material we are going to be ordering? 10 pieces. So whatever the raw material you have ordered, that has to be received. So that is nothing but, okay, raw material received against purchase order. So the goods receipt is nothing but you are receiving the raw material. You are receiving the raw material against the purchase order. So whatever the quantity of the raw material you have ordered, so that has to be delivered on 05/12/2018. That is nothing but you are expecting the goods receipt, means you are expecting the goods to be delivered by 05/12/2018. So when you are doing the MIGO, so the goods received document is getting generated. Means in it is called as a material document. For it is called as a material document. Very, very important. For people, it is called as a material document, and for FI, it is going to be called as accounting document. So there are two documents will be generated. One is going to be called as a material document. Another one is going to be called as an accounting document. Material document only speaks about the quantity of the material you have received. Material document will only speaks about the quantity of the material you have received, because it is a material document. But what is the price of this raw material you have received? That is going to be called as an accounting document. What is the price? Means you have received the quantity of 10 at the rate of $1. So what is the price? Okay, complete. There is a lot of difference is there between the price and the cost. One is going to be called as the price. Second one is going to be called as the cost. Very, very important. So what is the price here? Price is nothing but, okay, very, very important. Price is nothing but a 10 USD. The raw material cost, 10 USD. And what is the cost? Cost may include 10 USD. That is, the cost may include 10 plus your freight charges or whatever the charges, which your taxes, everything. Now completely it has become about, okay, completely it has become about 15 USD. 15 USD is nothing but your cost of the material. Very, very important. For example, let us take an example. Venkat is sending a laptop to me. Venkat is sending a laptop from US to India. So means that the price of the laptop is $1,000 US. I can tell it is a price. The price of the particular laptop is okay, $1,000 US. But once he's sending the courier, once he's sending the laptop from US to India, so he's adding all the freight expenses to it. Now the cost has become about $10,200 US. So that is what exactly I can tell it is the cost of the laptop. Price is completely different and cost is completely different here. I hope I'm making very clear all of you. Price and the cost is completely different. Price is the initial cost of the material, and the cost includes all the additional expenses which has been incurred for the particular material. That is going to be called as the cost. Clear all of you?
So this accounting document that is generated for the 15 USD, right?
Exactly, 15 USD. Now,
you will have a cost element portion in that.
Exactly. I am going to take you to the particular portion now. I'm going to taking here. So once the accounting entry.
Cost element portion will be there in 15.
Cost element portion there in the 15 means, okay, you're talking about the primary cost?
Yeah.
Primary cost. The freight expenses itself is the cost element, no primary cost element, or something like transport charges or loading expenses, whatever may be.
Yeah, so it will not go to the asset. It will go to the simultaneously. It will go to the cost element. It will be picked up.
Exactly, you're right. I'll explain, sir. I'll explain you now. Okay, now at the time of purchase order, okay, the cost of the raw material is, okay. So this is what exactly we need to understand. One is going to be called as the moving average price. And the second one is going to be called as the standard price. Second one is going to be called as the standard price. For all the raw materials, whenever you go for any raw material, the raw materials are going to be fixed with the moving average price. Until the raw materials are being procured and sent to the production, the price may be varied. The production order, the price is different, and once we receive the raw material, the price is different, and once we done the invoice, the price may be different here. So raw material, there will be no standard price. The raw material always will be given as a moving average price. So here, when I go into the raw material, this is what exactly the raw material. Okay, you can see here, this is the raw material. Now, if I double click on the raw material, this is what exactly the material which I'm procuring. How much quantity of the material? It is the 10 quantity you can see here. One second, the system is. Okay. So here is the raw material. You can see here is the raw material. So what is the transaction code? Okay, I'll go to /O MM03. MM01 is for the create, MM02 is for the change, MM03 is for the display. Give the raw material, the number 122. 122 is the raw material number, and click on organizational level. And here where I can see this price, the price will be updated in the accounting tab. Why? Because accounting information. So a raw material contains about the several views, not only raw material. If you take any material, the material will contains about the several views, the basic view, sales view, purchase view, okay, MRP view, okay, business warehouse, okay. So there will be separate views will be there. So where you are updating the price is getting updated in the accounting tab. That is going to be called as in the view of accounting. Okay, if I select the accounting one, and if I click on organizational level, now for which plant it is 1710. 1710. I'm just giving the plant and I'm pressing enter. Now here you can see here. Okay, now if I go here, now the price, there will be two price indicators will be there. One is going to be called as a S, another one is going to be called as a V. V is nothing but a moving average price and S is nothing but a standard price. Very, very important. So for all the raw materials, for any raw materials, okay, this is the semi-finished goods actually. Okay, this is the semi-finished product actually. So that is the reason they have taken it as a S. Okay, semi-finished goods and the finished goods will be cost estimated based on the standard price only. But here, the cost which I am going to be taking for the raw material will be completely on the moving average price, not on the standard price. Okay, let me go into the one more view. 1 second. Let me take this material. Okay, this is also same. Yeah, this is the same semi-finished goods actually.
No, see, material is still 122.
Oh my God! Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the raw material. See here. Okay, this is the raw material, but this is the description here. Okay, now if we go into this particular material, now you just click on this information of the material. Okay, if you just click on this information on the material, it will tell here what material type you have taken. This is the material type. ROH is for the raw material, HALB is for the finished goods, and FERT is for the HALB is for the semi-finished goods, and FERT is for the finished goods. There are three types of materials are there: raw material, semi-finished goods, and the finished goods. And other trading goods, everything is there. But I'm explaining the basic things. So if I come to the diagram, so three materials will be there. One is going to be called as the raw material. Second one is going to be called as a semi-finished goods. And the third one is going to be called as the finished goods. Okay. So whenever you're creating any raw material for the purchase order purpose, so the raw materials are going to be created under the material type, which is going to be called as ROH. ROH is the standard material type for the raw material. And semi-finished goods, it is going to be the HALB. And finished goods. And for the finished goods, it is going to be the FERT. Okay, so these are the three material types for the raw material and semi-finished goods and the finished goods. So if I see in this particular screen, this is an ROH. The raw material has been created under the material type called the ROH. So if I go into this, if I go into the creation /O MM01, if I want to create a new material, I'll use the transaction code called as MM01, and if I press enter, now here, it is going to be asking the, see here, there is the material type. So which material type? So I need to update the raw material type as a ROH. So if I come to here, this is the ROH raw material. So I'm giving it as a raw material. So it is the ROH. So this ROH, you can see that information in the material type after you create. If you go into the information on the material, you can see what type of material it is going to be. This is going to be called as ROH, which has been created by so and so. On which date? Okay, this is the date. Any changes have been happened? Yes, the changes have been happened so and so person on so and so dates. You can see here. So this is what exactly the information about the material. And as I know, this is the raw material. You can see here, the price indicator which they have updated is a V. V is nothing but moving average price. V is nothing but because the price has not yet been fixed. So what is that it is telling that at the time of invoice, at the time of invoice of the quantity, you are receiving a different price and the invoice is sending a different price. So it is completely moving average price. There is no standard price fixing for any kind of raw material. So there will be a price where there is a fluctuations are going to be happen. At the time of sales order, the price is $1 and at the time of goods received, the $1 has been changed to $1.5. There is a price fluctuations we are going to be seeing at the time of raw material. So that is what exactly we are going to be taking. All the raw materials are going to be taking as a price as a moving average price, not as a standard price. But once the raw material you have received and the raw material has been sent to the consumption for the manufacturing, then you are creating the semi-finished goods. That semi-finished goods and the finished goods are valuated at the standard price. Raw materials are valuated at the moving average price and the semi-finished goods and the finished goods are valuated at the moving average price. Very, very important, sorry, standard price. Now, if I go to this particular accounting tab, if I go to, there are two documents will be generated. One is the material document, another one is the accounting document. So material document, it is not going to impact to your financial accounting. Why? Because this is the goods received document. It will only tell what is the quantity of the goods you have received. But subsequent, there is an accounting document. This accounting document is going to be hitting to a general ledger. What is that accounting document? So here this inventory of raw material account will become the debit, because inventory is nothing but your raw material. How much quantity of the raw material you're procuring? So if I go into the PO, so 10 quantity, 10 into 5. Okay, you can see it, 10 into 5, totally 50. 10 into 5 is nothing but a 50 here. Now, and what is the offsetting account? GR, IR, clearing account will become the credit. So this is an accounting entry. This is an accounting entry. So if the raw material price is same as the invoice price, if the raw material price is same as the order price, 10 into 5, if you have received the quantity of 10 at the price of 5, so then it will be the $50, and here it is going to be the $50. You can see this is an accounting entry which is hitting to my financial accounting part. So this is a financial accounting entry which is coming and hitting to my financial part, and this is a material document which is only speaks about the quantity of the raw material they have received. Now see an example now. Now you can see an example.
One question. Yes, see, but there will be additional costs, right? Like the freight costs and the taxes and everything, right?
No, sir, this is not at the time of invoice, I will add those. But this is the raw material you have received, not at the freight expenses related. I'm not going to be putting any conditions. Conditions I will put afterwards. If I go into the conditions, I will add the conditions here. If you want to add any freight or something like, I will add the conditions. I'll create the conditions for the freight or anything. I will add the freight condition types over here. So I'll create a separate condition type. Freight value means I'll take FAB1. And what is the freight value? Everything I will add the price about here. If it is the $1 or $2 I will add here. That particular cost is getting added to the raw material.
Okay, so basically when you're doing the goods receipt, right?
Yeah.
You're doing inventory debit and GRIR credit for 50-50.
Correct.
But
Correct.
when you're doing invoice receipt, and if all those additional costs come into the invoice, then
Exactly.
the GRIR account will not be completely cleared, right?
Correct. So we have to raise an invoice, sir. I'll show that. I'll show that. Now I'm coming to that. Okay. Now I'll show that. Now, till now, okay.
Rahul,
Now,
when you create at the time of when you raise the purchase order itself, if you don't put that cost there, you can create a separate invoice for the difference in whatever the additional expenses.
yes, sir. There is an option is there where we can incorporate the GL account.
So that for the same vendor.
Same vendor.
Okay, that's a duplication of efforts, right?
No, it's a
No,
debit
no,
memo, I think.
No, that is not a duplication. How it see, for example, now at the time of some company, now at the time of invoice, I want to capture all the freight expenses or something like. How you will capture the freight expenses, sir? Because at the level of purchase order, they don't want the freight expenses. At the level of invoice, some freight expenses has to be captured. So when you're not giving the condition, here, when you're at the time of creating the purchase order, if you're not giving the freight expenses as the condition type here, the invoice will never trigger the freight expenses over at the time of invoice. So you have to give it as a manually. Why? Because now the company is asking us, this is the 5% is the freight expenses on the total raw material. So to which GL account? Freight is nothing but a cost element. It has to hit something GL account. So at the time of invoice, I want to hit to the particular GL account. So there is the option is there where you are going to be triggering the freight expenses at the time of invoice if you are not giving the condition type here.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, this is what exactly. Now you can see here. Now I want to understand whether you have received the raw material or not. Now here, if you have done any GR or IR for the particular purchase order, you will see one more tab here, which is going to be called as the purchase order history. So now if I just click on, if I want to see all the tabs in the item level, this is the item level. This is the item level. So I don't see the purchase order history here. See, there is no purchase order history tab. Means there is no, till now you are not done any kind of invoice of this particular material. Or I'll use one more report. There is one more report is there. Okay, /O MB5S. Give the material, give the purchase document number, or if you know the purchase document number, if it doesn't know the material, it doesn't matter. So okay, you can remove the material also, doesn't matter. Okay. Now, if the purchase order contains several material means you can give the materials, but I want to look out for this purchase order. Click on execute. No data means till now you are not done any kind of goods receipt, neither the invoice receipt. The list of the goods receipt, neither the invoice receipt. You can see here the value. Okay. Now, till now you're not done. So basically, as an MM consultant, no need to execute the report directly. I can know whether if there is a purchase order history tab is there. Okay, that means that there is an invoice or something like goods receipt has been done or invoice has been done. Now, for this particular order, now I want to raise one invoice. I want to receive the order. Okay, now I'll go back to the purchase order. I'll copy this purchase order. I'll go back to the /NMIGO MIGO. So this is the purchase order you are taking as a goods receipt and place here the particular purchase order, because for this purchase order you are raising the goods receipt. Press enter. Movement type is nothing but always you have to take 100. Okay, sir, 101, because 101 is nothing but raw material received against the purchase order. Okay. Okay. Now, order quantity is 10. Now, see here, raw material, and this is the short text. You can see here. Now I want to receive the 10 quantity. See, this is the material. Now I'm receiving the 10 quantity. Okay. Okay. Now you can see the movement type is 101. 101 is the first movement type. That is the raw material you are receiving against the purchase order. Okay. Now, if I go into the account assignment, it is hitting to this particular profit center. Okay. Now you can see here. Now I am going to do the goods receipt. If you come down, have you seen everything? Yes. Now click on item OK. Item OK means you're confirming the items are OK. So what is the material you're receiving? This is the material I'm receiving. What is the quantity of the raw material you're receiving? I'm receiving the 10 quantity. Or if the vendor has supplied only the 5 quantity, you can change the 5 quantity also. You can have one purchase order, can have multiple goods receipts also. Okay. Now you can change the purchase order quantity if the order quantity is less than the purchase order. Okay. After verifying, just select OK. Now, before you post, just click on check. Or if the system is asking about the delivery note, something like, okay, you can put it as a test. Okay, now click on check. Now check a document is okay. Means document is, there are no errors are there in the document. Now you can see in the down, document is okay. Now I can post. Now I can go and post the document. See. The material document the material document 50000188 was posted. Means for the purchase order, for the same purchase order, I have posted this material document. Now I'll go back one step back. Let me copy this particular. Let me copy. Okay, let me copy. Okay. Once again, I refresh my system. Okay, so again go to ME23N because I want to see the display of the purchase order. Now here you can see the tab has come. See here. Actually, this is what exactly I'm looking out for. Purchase order history. Purchase order history. This is the new tab which has come here now. Why? Because if I click on this tab, I can see here the goods receipt was done. This is the document type for the goods receipt, which is going to be called as a WE. Movement type is 101. And this is called as a material document number. You have received the quantity of 10 for the price of 50. See here, for the price of 50, because for each quantity it is a 10, order quantity is going to be the 5 quantity, and the net price is going to be the $5. So 5 to 10, it is going to be the 50. This is called as a material document number. Material document number only speaks about the quantity of the raw material you have received. The quantity of the raw material you have received against the purchase order. Now this is a material document number. If I click on it, if I double click on this material document number, my God, it is going to the template. I need to check with the technical team.
So this material document number is created just because in RM, in that material, that particular checkbox is checked, right? In the accounting one tab.
Exactly. Now you can see the same report. Once again, I'm executing. See here, MB5S. This report name is going to be the MB5S. You can see here the same report. Once again, I'm executing. This is going to be called as MB5S report. In this MB5S report, you can see for this purchase order. See, for this purchase order example, okay, we can see very carefully here. Okay, this is the order number. This is the item number 10. Item number is going to be the 10. This is what exactly the item number. Item number. So you have received the quantity is 10 USD, so 10 quantity. So if I come and see the purchase order history, how much quantity you have received? The quantity you have received is going to be the 10. 10 is the received quantity. And what is the total GR value? The GR value is going to be the 50 USD dollars. See here, 50 USD dollars is completely going to be called as the GR value. Till now, invoice has not yet been done, means the particular invoice is not yet been closed. So the invoice amount is 00. See, this is what exactly this MB5S report will give the complete. So if you want to know for what are all the purchase orders goods receipt has done, what are all the purchase orders invoice receipt has done, for what are all the purchase orders both goods receipt and invoice receipt has done, you can use this MB5S. MB5S is going to be the report for all the detailed information about the purchase order, the goods receipt and the invoice receipt has done or not. Very, very important. Next one. There is one more report which is going to be called MB5B.
MBB as in boy?
MB5S, sir.
5S, okay.
Okay, MB5B. So now you can see the stock now. Okay, how much stock you have received? Quantity 10 quantity. 10 quantity. Okay, now you can see the stock. Okay, for which material number? If you know the material number, you can give the material number. Okay, now before that, I'll just go and copy the material number. This is the material number. Now your stock means your inventory has been increased now. Your inventory has been increased. Okay, now I'm giving the material number. And what is the company code? You can give the company code and click on execute. Okay, so just remember this transaction code. MB5B will tell you the complete information about the stock which we have received. MB5S is the complete list of the accounts which will show about the GRIR balances about particular material over here. Now, if I double click on it, okay, this is the vendor account. See here, this is the vendor account. Now the vendor account is going to be, this is what exactly the part of vendor account. Now, there is one more, 1 second. I'll give one more account. Just 1 second, sir. Be in the line. 1 second. System hangout. 1 second.
Mahesh, when you were running that ME23N,
Sir.
the account assignment tab was not visible there. I don't know.
Which one, sir? Which one talking you?
When you are running that ME23N, right?
Yeah, MB21. Yeah, here ME23N.
ME23N, that is account assignment. There in a, after the tab purchase order history tab, there is an account assignment tab. Is there used to be?
There is an account assignment tab is there. If you see here, there is an account assignment tab. Why? Because this account assignment tab, why it is not getting updated? So you're asking the same question here?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Why? Because here I have not taken any account assignment category, whether it has to be hitting to the cost center or it has to be hit to the asset creation, anything. If I click on the cost center, because the account assignment category was left blank over here, you can see the account assignment category has been left as a blank here. So that is the reason. Okay, so that is the reason.
In the previous transaction, there was a profit center under the account assignment. It was there when.
Now, yes, now it has been got posted, sir. Now I'll tell you why, because it has got posted now. Now you cannot see. I'll coming, sir. I'm coming. I'll explain you now. I'll take one account assignment category and I'll explain you now.
Yeah, it's not a major thing. That's fine. Yeah.
No, sir. Because see, everything. See, as an accountant, as a consultancy, we should not always be dependent on the ML consultant. So we should have knowledge about looking up all this kind of things. Okay, now let me take you to the one more transaction, which is very, very important now. Just I have a very low memory power, sir, to remember all this transaction codes, everything. Don't mind anything. So 1 second, give me, just remember me. Okay, so.
You're doing an amazing job. Thank you.
Sir?
You're doing an amazing job. Yeah. We appreciate it.
Now, there is one more transaction code. So MB5S is very, very important. MB5S is for the list of the GRIR clearing. 1 second, I'm telling. These are the important transaction codes you have to remember. MB5S is nothing but the list of the GRIR balances. And there is one more is there. MB, just make a note of all those things, sir. MB52. MB52. Actually, this is what exactly which will display the material wise stock details. Actually, material wise stock details. If you want to see the stock details, so it will give the complete stock details. See here. Now, warehouse stock details of the material. How much material is available in the warehouse? I want to know, because I am a financial consultant, but little bit of knowledge is required. So how to see the stock in the warehouse? So you have to use the transaction code called as MB52. MB52 will give the complete information about the warehouse. So I'm giving the material. Now I'm giving the 1710 as a company core plant. Now, if you know the storage location, you give the storage location, otherwise empty. Okay, now I'm executing it. Now here you can see here. This is the complete information about the what is the raw material. Okay, now what amount of the raw material is available in which storage location. See, RM120 is nothing but the material. In the storage location 171B, see here, this is the storage location. In 171B, the total amount, the total quantity of pieces is 10,997.098 pieces are available. And the same in another storage location in 171C, how much? 1110 pieces are remaining. So totally 13,746 or 13 lakhs 746.547.50 USD dollars value is still there. It is in the warehouse. So now for the production, you can start the production. Why? Because already the stock is available in the warehouse department. So like this is the stock view. This is the stock view you can view in the storage locations. Very, very important. So in the different storage location, what is the stock which is available? You can see the stock view about the storage location here. Next one.
Mahesh, one more thing. So you see, right, the stock incoming, right, 2 locations. So it will show the stock out too, or we don't have any stock out?
No. It will. This report will only show about the quantity of the material available in what are all the storage locations only.
Okay, so it's not showing us like stock is go out.
No. I'll share why, because see here. I'll tell you why. Thanks, sir. If I see here, what is the storage location which has been updated here? This is the storage location. You can see here. This is the storage location. Okay, ROH. Okay, this is what exactly the storage location. So what is the storage location? So, or otherwise I can see here directly. So if I actually it is not taking me to the. It is giving a dump error actually. That is the problem. It is not taking me otherwise. Okay.